All right, let's do some yoga because I've got loads of lovely poses to do. We won't have enough time to get through them all. So you guys have gone on to mute. Wave at me if you need me. Make sure that if you didn't hear originally, make sure please that you have a couple of blankets, maybe your eye pillow if you've got one of those to hand. Let's just see if that's straight enough. Ooh, that way around a bit more. Yeah, yoga strap, all of the kind of lovely things that help to make our practice really delicious. So first things first, we're just gonna get straight into this. So can you put your bolster across your mat like this? And then I'm going to take a block and put it for my bottom to go onto. Let's move this kind of stuff out of the way. So if you don't have all of these thinner yoga blocks, then use a blanket, a folded up blanket, or a cushion was the word I was looking for that I couldn't quite find. Then you're going to take your blanket, your other one, and you're going to roll it so that it makes a support for your neck. Okay? So that's going to go up there. And the reason that you roll it, and you roll it like this, is so that you can change the height of the roll, because you don't know really how much you're going to need for your neck until you get down and you're lying there. Okay? Now, this is how it's going to go. So I've got the support here to give me a little bit of elevation, because I want to be able to lie down and I want to be able to bring my shoulders to the floor. Now my bolster's very, very high, okay? So if you can substitute, if your bolster is very, very high too, and you can substitute this for something a bit lesser, you can do. And then can you see this rolled up blanket is going to go into the back of the neck here. So my rolled up blanket is a bit too thick. So I'm going to unravel it. You don't actually need very much for the neck. But the idea is that you've got your shoulders down onto the floor and the back of the body is as supported as it possibly can be. Okay, so there's a cushion underneath the back of the neck, and you can roll it up a bit tighter if you don't feel that you've got quite enough support there for the neck. I'm going to free my hair and take the arms out wide, maybe bend the knees if you feel that is to sort of take some of the intensity out of your lower back. I'm not looking for a massive back bend here. In fact, the opposite. This is a restorative practice this evening, so we want to go completely towards the gentle side. And we're just literally feeling our way into something that supports all of the natural curves of your spine. So what I would say to you right now is that this is too strong for me. I need something a little bit lesser. So what I might do is swap my bolster for a pillow or something that I can use that's a little bit less high, because I want to support the curve. I don't want to make the curve bigger, basically. So please bear that in mind. I'm just going to come and have a look and see how everybody's doing. I think that looks pretty good. Just make sure that all the bits of your body that feel like they need support have got it. So if your legs are straight, which some of your legs are, and that's okay, but if your legs are straight, do you need, do you need support underneath your knees, for instance? Can you get your shoulders onto the ground with ease? And then above all else, can you allow yourself to feel held by the props? Make sure that your arms are wide open and free, okay? That there's nothing, you don't want to have anything too close to anything else tonight, do we? So we want to make sure that there's lots of space for the air to circulate around. And then with each inhalation, your front body opens. With each exhalation, your belly and your organs soften. And the breath keeps moving in and opening up the front of your body. The exhale softens everything and allows your mind to become quiet. And watch how you gradually relax. Tonight's practice is all about the relaxing. And you might like to imagine that well, of course, you're already lying in a safe and comfortable place. But maybe you'd like to let your imagination take you somewhere beautiful, somewhere serene and tranquil. Open your mind to this place. And let your body receive whatever beauty, whatever wholesomeness that is conveyed to you for being here in this moment. You're staying here for just one more minute. I'm gonna see if there are elements of feeling a little bit more refreshed, perhaps even energized. We don't want to overstimulate the body, but always remember that back bends are very energizing. So they're a nice thing to practice, especially these very supported and held versions that we're going to do tonight. All right, so we're going to take just a couple more breaths. And then I'd like you to gently It's up to you how you come out, but what I'm going to suggest is that you push the bolster to the back of the knees, if at all possible, and that you then lie down supported. So you lie with your back on the ground, but have your legs supported by the bolster. Okay, and we just let the body realign and reorientate itself, because remember that we don't want to take away, we want to keep giving, we want to nourish the body throughout the practice. So while we're in the poses, we want to feel held and safe. And when we're out of the poses, we want to come back into a neutral alignment. Okay. So taking a look at your screen, please, and just watching the setup for this, because the setup for this next pose, this supported butterfly pose, is quite detailed. There's quite a lot to think about. So first things first, you need your strap, and you need it on set so that it's in a big loop. So make a nice big loop, and that will eventually, it will go around your body, but I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. But just get the strap ready and make it so that it's when you are pulling on the strap, it's not sliding through the buckle. All right. So get that ready and then put that to one side. We'll come back to that in a second. And then your next job is to prop your bolster up. Now, I've got the luxury of all these bricks and blocks. You could use another cushion, a pillow off of the bed, for instance, a couple of cushions, whatever it takes to prop your bolster up at a bit more of an angle. And you can go to town with this. You can have, at whatever configuration, height that you like, really, to create a really nice supported angle. Then I've got another 2 blocks. These are going to be optional supports for the legs. You're going to open the knees into a butterfly, into a wide knee position. The strap is going to help support that. I'll show you how with that in a minute. But if you do need extra, then have another cushion either side of your mat, and that will be to catch your knees. Then I said to you, we need a couple of blankets. So blanket number 1 gets folded into some kind of a shape, and that's going to go there, and it's going to be for one arm. And then the other blanket is over on the other side, and that's for the other arm. And you might have to play around with this. And obviously, if we were in a space together, in a teaching room together, then I would be coming around and helping everybody do this and set it up. This is one that you might want your eye pillow or something to rest over the eyes or the forehead if you can bear it. It's really nice. Okay, so to come into the pose, once you've got everything, and I'll talk you through it again once we get sort of set up, but the next thing to do is sit with your back to the bolster and then take the strap around the back of your waist. Sorry, a bit lower than the back of your waist. You don't want it up here, up on the back of the waist up there. You want it right down low towards the kind of the back of the hips, the back of the pelvis. Then my strap is a little bit on the long side at the moment. I'm going to move the buckle round here. So make sure that the buckle is not resting on your skin or on your body. And so notice I've taken my legs into this butterfly position, and the strap I'm then going to hook underneath my feet like this. If I turn this way round, okay, so I'm sitting like this. I've got the strap around my back. Sorry, it keeps me getting tangled. And then I'm putting it around or underneath my feet, and then I'm going to tighten it, okay? And I want the buckle to be somewhere kind of here at the front where I can kind of get to the end. So can you see how low it is? It's right down low, it's touching the tops of my thighs, and then it's around the underneath of the feet, okay? Now this is going to feel really nice when you lie down. So swivel, I'm going to swivel back. And you'll know that it's too tight because you won't be able to lie down. But obviously, if you do get into the pose and you think, oh, actually, I'd like it to be a bit tighter, you can always sit back up and tighten the strap. It should feel like it's holding you, okay? So, but the most important thing is reach the end of the strap and make sure also that the buckle's not touching you. Okay, so you lie yourself down. This is where here you might want to put something underneath the outer edges of the legs so they feel a little bit held. And then the blankets come for the arms. So position the blankets so that they can catch your arms and preferably your elbows. So every joint, every bit of you feels very held, very supported. You can use your eye pillow here, or just close down the eyes, turn off the lights. And I'm just going to come and have a look at the screen. Yeah. And if it gets too much to have the legs in this open position and you just want to have the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor, then do that instead. You can always slide the feet away from you, and so you've still got the held, supported position of the spine and the upper body, but without the intensity of the legs. So it's really good. This is such an important pose because it really is the antidote to our kind of postural behavior, postural patterns that we get ourselves in, and it feels really held. I really love this for me. This is probably the way that I found when I first started practicing with Simon Lowe on my teacher training, gosh, like nearly 20 years ago. This was how we practiced. We practiced very much a restorative style of yoga, which then evolved into yin. Because if you look back along the lineage, kind of yin or restorative style yoga was actually the creation of Iyengar, to be honest. But nevertheless, spend the time. The pose, the magic of the pose is in the setting up of it. And then now that you're here, make sure that every part of you feels held, including the neck. If you happen to have a spare something that you can put underneath the curve of the neck, even better. You might even be thinking that your support is too high and that you want to lower it down, for instance. spend the time. It really is worth the investment of getting it right, so that then when you're here, you can really relax. And then we'll take a centering breath while we're here. We'll do this on a few repetitions. So what I'd like you to do is take a long, slow, and gentle inhalation through your nose. And afterwards, as you breathe out, let the out breath also be long, slow, and gentle through the nose. Then, after the exhale, just let the body take 2 or 3 normal cycles of breath. Breathing through the nose if you can, and just letting yourself feel refreshed from the breath. And after you've taken a few normal cycles of breath, you can then do another centering breath, which is simply a long breath in through the nose and a long breath out through the nose. And then slow but normal cycles of breath. And you can keep going with this. You can do this for up to 10 rounds. But 1 long slow breath in and out, and then a few normal breaths afterwards is considered 1 cycle. We're not worried about how much breath in you take or how long your exhalation is. Instead, go slowly. Be present with the process. And one thing to remember with any kind of breath techniques is if you ever start to feel frustrated or fatigued or anxious or lightheaded even, that's an indication that you've done enough. So stop the breathing. Just let your breath return to normal. Remember that each breath is a sign that life is moving through you. So enjoy it. And we're going to be here for just a little bit longer. But know that if you enjoy this pose, that it's definitely one I'd recommend returning to. It's said to be very good for those with high blood pressure. It's said to be very good for those with any kind of breathing issues, simply because of the way that it opens up the chest. It can also be helpful for women during their menstrual cycle as well. So I've seen quite a nice benefit from opening up the body like this. The other nice thing to note is that we're here just for a relatively short amount of time in this place, in this pose, and that you can come back to this and practice this for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, for half an hour if you wanted to. And it really is, it's one of the poses that I'll often just lie in while I'm watching TV. I know that's not necessarily a restorative thing to do, but sometimes it's just quite nice to lie in it. Okay, so taking your last breath here. And it really is, you've given lots of attention into coming into the pose, so take a lot of care coming out. So when you feel ready, slowly maybe open the eyes if you like, and use your hands to push you into an upright position so that you can undo the belt. You can maybe stretch out the legs. And you're very welcome to take another rest here. You could lie down flat onto the back, or you could take a different resting position if you like. Okay. So taking a look at your screen is so that I can show you how to set up for the next pose. There's no rush to come into the next pose, just take your time. So what I have set up is this. In a perfect world, we'd have two bolsters lying in a line along your mat. So instead, I've got one bolster, and then I've got my foam blocks. So I've got 4 foam blocks. Obviously, I'm in that privileged position of having 4 foam blocks. So if you haven't, then you're going to need to substitute this into for cushions. If you've got a couple of blocks, use them and put a cushion on the top, for instance, or a pillow, or your blankets, etc., etc. Just make something that's going to support the length of your body. You're also going to need your strap, and the strap is going to be on a littler, smaller loop than it was probably previously. And then I'm going to come here to sit down, and I'm going to put the strap around the legs, so around the tops of around the thighs. You want to avoid them being avoid the strap being near to the knees or the hips, so it needs to be in the middle of the limb. And then I'm lying down. Now, I might not be exactly in the right position. I definitely am not. So I'm going to slither kind of along. And the idea is that you slither along enough Can you see how I'm going to bring my shoulders down onto the floor? So this is not great for anybody with any neck issues that I maybe am not quite remembering or aware of. So please don't do this if you struggle with any pressure going through the neck. It's a bit like a supported shoulder stand. So you can see I've got the bolster is kind of catching the back of my heart. The shoulders are on the ground, my head's on the ground, and then I'm going to straighten my legs. And the strap is there to stop the legs kind of falling off of the sides of the support. You could take your blanket, if you've got it nearby, roll it up like you did before, put it under the neck again, set it all up so that you feel nice and supported and held. Arms out wide to the sides again, or even arms alongside the ears for a full long body stretch. Okay, so I'll stay like this for a moment so that you can see what to do for yourself. Okay. This is the thing with these poses, it takes so much longer to get everything set up and get yourselves all sorted and stuff. So yeah, but hopefully it's worth the setup process. You're right there, Anne. Put it here around this part of your thigh. So you're tying your legs together to stop them from splaying out to the sides of the support. You're right, Joe. Yeah, I'm watching. Just do it very carefully. And if it doesn't feel right, just don't do it. You know, if it's not bringing you benefit. So yeah, legs are kind of bound to keep them closer together. Just stops them from falling out to the sides. But I quite like it. So now that we're here, make sure that you are as comfortable as you can be. And as before, gently bring your awareness back to your breathing. Feel the movement of your breath in the sides of your body. feel the movement of your breath in your side ribs and the sides of the lungs. A nice thing to try here is the position of your eyes. Now, your eyes might be closed, your eyelids might be closed, so I'm not suggesting you open your eyes. You can keep your eyelids closed, but just turn the direction of your eyes, if you're like your eyeballs, to turn downwards, as though you're looking down the length of your body or looking down towards the cheeks of your face. And this is said to draw the energy of thought inward and allows you to open and expand the energy of the body. Okay, so we're going to take 1 or 2 more breaths. And you might not notice it now. It might be something you notice at the end of the practice, but this pose is said to be very good for reducing fatigue, and it's one of the poses that's often used to rest for athletes. It's supposed to be to bind the legs like this, supposed to be very relaxing for the legs and for the hips particularly. So great pose to remember if you've had a long day on your feet and are feeling rather tired, then this is a fabulous pose. It's also said to be very good for headaches or for kind of mental agitation. All right. So to come out of the pose, you have a couple of choices. You could roll to the side very, very carefully. Or if you have the space behind you, you could slide yourself off of the support and get your hips bottom down onto the floor, or push everything out of the way. You can keep your legs supported by the bolster if you want to, or just roll to the side, push it all out of the way, and then just lie flat. All right. So taking a look at your screen, and this will be our final pose for tonight. Legs up the wall, classically, great for feeling hot, great for feeling exhausted. What I want you to set up is this. I've put my blocks near the wall. So I've got this height, and then I've covered them with a blanket so they're a bit softer. So it doesn't matter what it is. I'm not using my bolster because I feel it would be too high and create too much of a back bend. So if your bolster is a lot squidgier or a lot flatter, by all means use your bolster. But it wouldn't be right for me for this pose. I'm going to keep my bolster. It's here. I might put it on my feet in a moment. I'll show you that in a second. So anyway, I've got something that's going to lift my hips just a little bit. I've got a blanket here, which is going to be for my head in a moment. And I put a blanket here. So to come into the pose, you sit to the side with your body near the wall. You use your hands to support you as you gently bring the legs up as you come down. And the idea is that you get fairly close to the wall with your legs, with your hips. The blanket comes in, and I nestle it, I just scrunch it up underneath the back of the neck again, just so that it supports the curve in the neck, but not pushes into it. And then, if you want to, my bolster's really heavy, so I quite like this, but I'm just going to take it up the wall and just rest it onto my feet. So I'm essentially going to hang out here. And again, this is another one of those lovely poses that you could be in for 10 or 15 minutes. It's just a little bit of support underneath the hips. That's all you need. It doesn't need to be very high. You also don't need the bolster on the feet either. That's just my kind of little extra add-on. So I'll hang out here for a moment so that you can see what's what. Of course, if you don't have a wall, I should have said this a whole lot earlier, you can use a closed door, or you could just do bamboo garden with your legs in the air without the wall support. I'm kind of keeping half an eye on the screen, but I can see, I think you're all pretty much sorted. But obviously wave at me if you need a hand, of course, anytime. There's just something so lovely about this. I hope you all agree with me. I know I'm pushing my opinions on you, but obviously that's the privilege of being the teacher. I get to choose. But yeah, there's something lovely about this, especially if you just relax your knees a little bit. Try not to have the legs dead straight. Try not to lock the knees. Just feel as though all of the weight is coming down along the length of the legs, past the knees, and into the back of the hips, which are feeling supported. Okay, so last few breaths in. Honestly, I wish we had a 2 hour practice where we could really luxuriate in all of these poses for 10 or 15 minutes at a time. But hey, maybe this is a class to come back to. Maybe we'll do, I think I promised you a part 2 last week, which I've clearly forgotten about, but maybe we'll do a part 2 of this particular practice next week and add a few more restorative style poses in, so you have a real repertoire, a bank of poses that you can use anytime you need them. Anyway, for now, if you've got something resting on your legs, my legs have kind of gone into this really light, kind of weightless sort of feel. It's really surreal. It's quite nice, but I don't want to move them. It's really weird. Anyway, to come out, you've got to slowly bring the support and kind of catch it without it hurting you or squashing you. And then I suggest that you roll gently out to the side and just stay on your side for a moment. Just let the circulation, let the blood flow back along the legs. One of the worst things that you can do is be in an upside down pose for a long, long time, as we were, and then come up and sit immediately. So it's much better to keep the heart low, close to the ground, let the legs come to the same level, feel the blood pressure regulating, the blood flow easing. And then maybe after, it might take a minute or two for that to happen. But the important thing with restorative practice is that we're in no rush whatsoever. And that's why we sometimes do these 2-hour practices on a Friday night, because it really gives us the chance to kind of set poses up beautifully and take our time to luxuriate in them once we're there. All right. So I'm going to come up to sit. You are very welcome to stay as you are for a little bit longer. Just check in with yourself. Did you have one of those sort of, I had like a really nice sense of release in that with the sensation in the legs, but just be gentle. Might just feel like the fatigue, the tiredness is all draining out of your body. Okay, so coming up into a seated position, take your time. I think I can see everybody because it's getting dark in your home, so I can't quite see everybody quite as clearly. But anyway, let's bring our practice to its gentle conclusion by together, uniting together with the fingertips out wide, inhaling and raising the hands up all the way above you, and then bringing the hands down to the heart center to finish off. And it's been a real privilege to practice with you today, and indeed for the whole of this week. So thank you so much for coming to classes, and namaste. Very well done.